Please join me, if you will, in thanking our Morrison staff for a lovely dinner and great service. I'd now like to introduce Sheila O'Brien, class of 77 and law school class of 80, to introduce our award winner.
Good evening. It is a joy and an honor to introduce the incredibly fabulous Mary Meg McCarthy, the winner of the Tom Dooley Award. Born and reared in South Bend, Indiana, one of 8 children born to the fabulous Mrs. McCarthy O'Keefe and her husband. And then Mr. McCarthy was called home to God, and Mary Meg's mom married a man named Mr. O'Keefe, and he had 15 children. So they had 23 children. We took a vote at our table, Mrs. O'Keefe, and we decided you get the Tom Dooley Award. Mrs. O'Keefe and Mr. McCarthy knew Tom Dooley when they were students here at Notre Dame and St. Mary's. So it is a wonderful moment for Mary Meg and her mother and her numerous brothers and sisters to be here as Mary Meg gets this award. Not only were there 23 children, but now there are 99 grandchildren. Please hold your applause until I introduce all of them. We have Mrs. O'Keefe, Mary Meg's mom. We have Aunt Eileen. We have the fabulous sister, Bridget Ryan from Boston. We have her wonderful brothers. We have Tom and Sean. We have Bridget's daughter, Sarah. We have the fabulous Sister Judith Ann Beatty of the Sisters of the Holy Cross, one of Mary Meg's mentors. We have Mike Heaton and his wonderful wife, Barbara, who are on the Board of Trustees of the Catholic Theological Union with Mary Meg. We have Kathy Ostberger, who got this award in what year, Kathy? 97. And we have Dr. Suzanne Shanahan, who is now the director of the Center for Social Concerns. And Susan Garrity, who was Mary Meg's roommate and has been sworn to secrecy. But the cool part about having Dr. Suzanne here is that when Mary Meg was an undergraduate at Notre Dame, she conspired with Don McNeil and Claude Pomerleau and called Father Hesburgh on the phone and said, we would like some real estate to start a thing to help others, now called the Center for Social Concerns. That was Mary Meg McCarthy. And that's just the beginning. How much time do we have? Mary Meg went to Chile to work with the poor, came back to the United States, became a lawyer, started to practice law, and in her burned the passion that she had to help the needy when she was in Chile. And then Mary Meg went into the immigration advocacy part of the law. And by doing that, from that moment till now, the name Mary Meg is ubiquitous for the person who knows everything about immigration in this country. If you need someone to testify in front of the Congress, you call Mary. If you need someone to tell you what senators are voting on what bill on immigration today, you call. If you need someone who needs a lawyer for someone who is an asylum seeker, you call. You know how some people are known by one name, like Cher? In legal communities, if you say the name, Mary Meg, everyone knows who you're talking about. Mary Meg, it's true, right? Mary Meg McCarthy has taken the National Immigrant Justice Center in Chicago from a budget of $1 million to $14 million. She now has 135 full-time employees working there, and she has 1,200 lawyers across the country, mostly in Chicago, who do pro bono work representing people who just want to come to this country and live here and have a better life. That's what she does every day across the nation. She's on CNN, she's testifying in front of legislatures, she's on MSNBC. Just tune in and you'll see Mary Meg. She is the go-to person in this issue. She's a miracle worker. Who else do you know could get 1,200 lawyers to work for free? It's Mary Meg. And that is why she's getting this award. Because like Tom Dooley, who walked right into the fire in Southeast Asia, Mary Meg has walked right into the fire of a very crazy, complicated, tough issue in this country called immigration. She walks into it, she knows it, she makes some sense of it, and most importantly, she brings us with her to help people who are trying to get through it. That is why she is such a deserving person for this award. And it's a great honor to be the person to look at her and say, Mary Meg, every person in this room is so lucky to be your friend and to feel like you're a graduate. You make the rest of us look better. Thank you for being who you are, and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Sheila. You surpassed yourself. You're the fabulous one, let me say that. I call Sheila every hour of the day and night saying, okay, I've got this issue, this problem, now what do I do? And Sheila's like, okay, we'll figure it out. So thank you, Sheila. And it's really meaningful for me to receive this award from you, given our personal and professional friendship for more than 4 decades. So thank you so much. I remember in Walsh Hall with Sheila when she was in law school, and how special it was to hang out with Sheila. And I have to say, before I share a few remarks, Sheila kind of stole my thunder, but let me just say a few thank yous. First of all, to the Notre Dame Alumni Club for this award. I'm really, really honored and humbled by it, and I really am grateful to you for this award. It means a lot. To those who nominated me, particularly my sweet roommate, Susan Siebel Garrity, who worked on this for years. Thank you, Susan. And past Dooley Award winner, Kathy Osberger, and Mike and Barbara Heaton, who are with us this evening. And I also have to include my classmate, Phil Russo, who is not here with us this evening, but he was also one of the people from my class who nominated me. And he and his sister, Leanne Russo, have just been amazing supporters of the National Immigrant Justice Center, which I'll refer to as NIJC, and also just good friends. I can call Leanne or Phil any moment of the day and say, okay, what are we going to do at the border? And they're there, so it's really wonderful. I'm grateful that my mom, Barbara O'Keefe, and my Aunt Eileen McKeown are here tonight. As Sheila mentioned, they knew Tom Dooley through my dad and McCarthy. Dad and Dr. Dooley shared a friendship, bonded by their love of Notre Dame. I also want to thank my brothers and sisters, especially 3 who are here today, as Sheila mentioned, Bridget, Tom, and Sean, and then my godchild, Sarah, who's here with us this evening. And then I want to acknowledge the presence of Suzanne Shanahan. As Sheila mentioned, it's just so wonderful to have you here. Suzanne, who is the executive director of the Center for Social Concerns, and will be teaching a migration class at Notre Dame this fall, and who comes from Duke University, where she herself, with her students, supported a refugee family, and her story is a powerful one, so I hope someday you will hear that from her. So tonight we remember Dr. Dooley and the faith he experienced on this campus and throughout the Notre Dame community that supported and inspired his extraordinary life and work. Well, it's difficult to summarize Dr. Dooley's many accomplishments. For me, his life offers 3 lessons. First, one person can make a difference. Tom Dooley made a difference in the lives of countless individuals. He helped found an organization, Medico, which then became the humanitarian organization CARE. That organization raised funds and recruited medical teams to provide care to marginalized men, women, and children, particularly refugees from Southeast Asia. He worked in refugee camps, clinics, and hospitals, and helped thousands of people, many living in the jungles without access to basic medical care. The second lesson is the importance of steadfast faith. Dr. Dooley's faith compelled him to respond to human suffering. Instead of pursuing a medical career in the States, he got out of his comfort zone and traveled into the Laotian jungles and treated people living there. The third lesson: take action. Tom Dooley used his education and expertise to care for people in need. 50 years later, we continue to stand in awe of his life and determination and all that he accomplished. Like Dr. Dooley, each one of us can make a difference. We can get out of our comfort zones and act to respond to people in need and build a more peaceful, equitable world. In communities today, we see immigrants and refugees who fled their homes with nothing other than the clothes on their backs. They are struggling to build a life in this country. They are seeking permanent legal status, financial stability, and health care. They are our neighbors, classmates with our children, co-workers, and friends. The idea that one person can make a difference permeates all of our work at the National Immigrant Justice Center. In the U.S. immigration system, immigrants do not have court-appointed counsel. Children as young as 3 years of age are forced into an immigration court with a judge and a federal government prosecutor. Non-detained immigrants represented by an attorney are 5 times more likely to win their cases than those without legal counsel. Trained attorneys do more than just navigate a complex and adversarial immigration system. They help immigrants and refugees tell their stories, overcome their fear and mistrust that prevent them from telling their stories, They help those individuals get closer to safety. With the network of more than 2,000, it's grown, 2,000 pro bono attorneys, NIJC manages more than 10,000 cases each year. Each of those 2,000 pro bono attorneys is making a difference in the lives of other individuals. For example, an NIJC pro bono attorney in Chicago, who coincidentally is a Notre Dame alum, no surprise, is a partner at a major international law firm. He devoted hundreds of hours building a case to help a Salvadoran seek asylum. After this pro bono won the case, he told me it was one of the most rewarding experiences in his career. Moral convictions guide NIJC as Dr. Dooley's faith guided him. We represent individuals with credible claims regardless of their ability to pay. These individuals may not be heroes, may not set new legal precedents, but they are women, men, and children entitled to legal representation under our laws. Recently, I spoke to Notre Dame students, law and undergraduates. I drew such inspiration and hope from them because of their commitment to social justice and their curiosity about the world and how they can make it better. Now more than ever, we need the future generation. Today, with Russia's assault on Ukraine and yet another and ever-increasing refugee crisis, we must continue to remember that one person can make a difference, that we must have faith and continue to act. The war in Ukraine has exacerbated an ongoing refugee crisis. Will the plight of Ukrainians bring renewed compassion and respect to refugees from Afghanistan, Central America, Chad, Ethiopia, Haiti, and many other countries? It's on us to make the case. Most of our clients feel like they are invisible, like their suffering doesn't count, and the Ukrainian crisis is helping to put another face on people forced to flee their homes. It's an opportunity that we must seize, and that requires all of us to try to make a difference and to act. Ukraine carries with it another meaning with respect to refugees. In World War II, the Nazis were an assault on Enlightenment values. The idea that humans have individual rights and human life has inherent value. And in reaction to World War II, the world affirmed the right to seek refuge. While this focused first on Europeans, by 1980, we in the United States had the Refugee Act and the expansion of refuge and asylum admission for persons from Southeast Asia, Africa, and Latin America. In fact, as Sheila mentioned, I lived and worked in Chile for 2 years. When I came back, the first thing I did was to represent Chilean asylum seekers, individuals who were fleeing the persecution from a dictatorship in that country. But let me say, Ukraine matters, because this conflict comes at a time when Enlightenment values of human worth, democratic process, and public debate are under assault, both in the US and abroad. Putin and his attempt to eliminate Ukraine as a people and a nation resonate because sometimes it feels like 1939 rather than 2022. And just as in the period before World War II, nationalism and fear has resulted in a backlash against migrants and refugees. Ukraine matters because it reconnects us to the failures leading up to World War II and the post-war consensus that human beings deserve the protection of the Convention on Refugees and the Refugee Act. All of this is under assault today. In our Catholic faith tradition, we are reminded, as we were this past weekend, that through struggle, there is hope. The resurrection calls us to contribute to that hopefulness. We are called to act to make our communities and the world better by welcoming the stranger. How can we, each of us as individuals, take that hope and turn it into action? Reach out to your local refugee or legal aid organization and volunteer. Teach English. Help a family settle into your community. Mentor a young immigrant refugee. If you are a lawyer, provide pro bono legal services. If you speak a second language, offer to interpret or translate documents. Or like some people in this room, prepare mailings or make fundraising calls. You can have an impact. You can make a difference. In closing, know that I am deeply honored and humbled to receive this award. On behalf of NIJC and our clients and the memory of Father McNeil, may all of us be blessed with the strength, faith, and vision to continue Dr. Dooley's meaningful work. Thank you very much.
Whew. Mary Meg, your example of selfless service is both inspiring and humbling, and your alma mater is very proud of you, and we just want to tell you how proud we are to be able to recognize you this evening. I'd now like to invite Amy Porter from the class of 2014 to come forward and offer a benediction.
Not sure quite how to follow that, but we'll try. So we'll join in prayer. So let us pray with open hearts. Loving and merciful God, we ask for your abundant blessing upon us as we conclude our gathering here tonight. May we always recognize your spirit, in the refugee family seeking safety from violence, in the migrant worker bringing food to our tables, in the asylum seekers seeking justice for their families, in the unaccompanied child traveling in this dangerous world. Give us hearts that break open whenever our brothers and sisters turn to us. Give us hearts that no longer turn deaf to their voices in times of need. Give us eyes to recognize a moment for grace instead of a threat. Give us voices that fail to remain silent, but which decide instead to advocate prophetically. Give us hands that reach out in welcome, but also in work for a world of justice until all homelands are safe and secure. We thank you for the sacrifice and dedication of your loyal daughter of Notre Dame, Mary Meg McCarthy, and her service to humankind. We are inspired by our brothers and sisters like Dr. Tom Dooley and Mary Meg McCarthy, who bring healing and hope to this world. We are reminded of our responsibility to bear witness and respond to the marginalization, injustice, and oppression that burdens the lives of so many around us. We ask that you guide and support us as we uphold this tremendous responsibility. As we conclude tonight's gathering, we give thanks for this opportunity to gather in person for our board meetings. May our time here on this beloved campus nourish the bonds of friendship and recharge our efforts to work together as a force for good. May we all travel home safely and in good health. We ask this through the intercession of Our Lady, Notre Dame. Amen.
Dessert. Okay. Dolly's offering dessert in an open bar, I believe, next door. Is that right? This doesn't happen often that she opens her tab, so I think we ought to take advantage of it. So, again, thank you all for your attendance here this evening. We are next door for dessert and drinks and further fun discussion. So we are adjourned. Oh, that way.